For more information on our top stories, please visit our website, channelstv.com, youtube.com/channelsweb. We have videos of our shows. Also watch Channels Television's live stream on YouTube and other social media platforms using your mobile device browser, or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS devices from their respective stores. Besides giving you access to news updates on the go, the Channels TV, Channels 24 app have an eyewitness feature that you can use to share pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the menu, and please follow the instructions. And now to some of the stories that you sent in. Let's begin with this picture from the 8 Miles area of Cross River State. It shows part of a community in a cotton carrier layout that is experiencing severe erosion right in the middle of residential buildings. According to our eyewitness, many houses have been lost to erosion and many others are on the verge of being washed away. Our eyewitness reporter is asking for urgent intervention by the Cross River State government in order to save occupants of each of the structures from becoming homeless. The next picture, vehicles plying the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway with some degree of difficulty resulting in congestion. The poor state of the road leaves it flooded long after each rainfall, with commuting on the road taking longer than it should. Our eyewitness reporter is asking the state government to fix it. And finally is another picture from Lagos State from the Ikorodu area. According to our eyewitness reporter, this is what the Ikorodu-Ishawo road looks like. It's either muddy during the rainy season or dusty when the rains are gone. He wants the state government to work on it. Thank you for sending in those reports and keep them coming. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has accepted the voluntary retirement from service of Honorable Justice Walter Onoge as Chief Justice of Nigeria, effective from May the 28th, 2019. According to a statement by the President's spokesperson, Mr. Garba Shehu, President Buhari has also submitted a request to the Acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Mohammed, for the initiation of the process of appointing 5 justices of the Supreme Court to make the full complement of 21 justices as provided by the Constitution. According to the President, the request is in line with the federal government's plan of repositioning the judiciary with special focus on the apex court with a view to reducing the backlogs of pending cases. Meanwhile, the President has thanked Justice Onoge for his service to the nation, wishing him the very best of retirement life. And the inability to secure a white-collar job should not deter any graduate from contributing to the Nigerian economy, and that appears to be the message from 2 graduates in Cross River State. Kanjel Godshield, a graduate of Mass Communication, and Martina Offem of Guidance and Counseling, both from the Cross River State University of Technology. They've decided to jump in with both feet by venturing into small-scale businesses to make a living for themselves. Our correspondent Emmanuel Day has that story.
Out on the streets, this roasted plantain with grilled fish and pepper sauce is a sought-after delicacy in the southern and western parts of Nigeria. This snack is made from either unripe or ripe plantain, which is peeled and placed on barbecue grits to grill, and then is served with pepper sauce. While this kind of business is peculiar to persons with little or no schooling, Kanjel Godshield and Martina Offem, both graduates of the Cross River State University of Technology, are creating wealth from roasting plantain. At the busy Harbour Junction in Calabar, Cross River State capital, is Martina Offem's plantain business. Her growing concern to be her own boss began shortly after graduation, owing to the scarcity of white-collar jobs. Her choice of enterprise, according to her, is paying off. But there are a lot of things she would love to achieve in this line of business.
I feel very happy doing what I'm doing, despite the fact that so many people have mocked me and laughed at me because of this. But I still do this with joy, with all amount of happiness in me, and I see this vision going places.
Customers who patronize Martina's plantain and fish have some nice things to say.
I want government to even come into our head to encourage not just her, the other people who are waiting for a white-collar job at home.
People like this should be supported, like all the programs of You Win, You Lead, all those kind of things. These are the kind of people they should scout for.
In Ikom, approximately 4 hours drive from Calabar, the state capital, Kanjal Godshield purchases plantain from these local markets to feed his business.
Our plantain chips is made up of 100% natural ingredients. We garnish our plantain chips with the ingredients such as turmeric, ginger, pepper, and garlic. And you should know the health benefit of those spices I have mentioned. Our plantain chips are well spiced and very high in protein.
He then turns it into special snack found virtually in all the local shops around. Kanjal says he goes the extra mile to make his plantain chips taste different from others. The HOD Vocational Education at the University of Calabar seeks government's funding of vocational institutes to encourage students to study entrepreneurship.
Our courses are capital intensive, especially the home economics is almost dying because it's capital intensive. As you come in, a student for practicals, maybe you have to cut a dress and the material is not good, won't take it. Or maybe you cut it and spoil it, you're going to replace it. So if they fund those courses, I think it will be better. Our students will come and offer those courses.
Business may not be booming as the young entrepreneurs would have wished for, but they are optimistic that with government support for small and medium-scale enterprises, things will change for the better. Imani Odi, Channels Television News.
Yummy meals there. Well, we have joining us in the studio Channels Television's data analyst Babajide Ogusonwo for more on the opportunities for small and medium enterprises. Good to have you.
Yummy meals, like you said.
Indeed. But really tell us, are SMEs the key to unlocking Nigeria's economic potential?
I think they are. And tonight I will reveal 5 secrets to SMEs about how they can make more money. And I think you should also write it down when I reveal them. But before then, I'd like to talk about 3 things. The first is, why is oil still important with regarding trade? The second is, who are those that are really buying our oil? And finally, we should also look at, can we, for instance, look elsewhere? Now, the evidence we have from the first 90 days of trade, which is the report released by the National Bureau of Statistics, shows that out of the 5.5 trillion naira worth of exports out of our ports in the first 90 days of this year, 74% of that figure was oil. In other words, oil is still significant in the survival of the nation. So the second question is, who are those buying the oil? Now, the evidence as well shows one word: Europe. While other nations and other countries are buying our oil, Europe still stands out as the most significant oil partner we have. And in Europe, we're talking specifically about Spain, Netherlands, Italy, and France. Now, the third question is, if we don't look towards Europe for money, can we look elsewhere, say Asia? But the challenge we have with Asia is China. And by China, let's look at our trade relationship with China. Is it positive or negative? And within that recent report from the National Bureau of Statistics, it shows that we are importing significantly more from China than exporting. In other words, in the first 90 days of the year, our trade balance with China was a deficit of over 800 billion naira in only the first 90 days of this year. Last year, 2018, our trade deficit with China was over 2 trillion naira. In the final analysis, here's what I mean. While it is important for us to explore oil, because that is still a significant source of revenue, we now need to exploit our population, because that is really where the future is.
Because I'm a little worried now. Talking about SMEs, are there hidden opportunities in terms of foreign trade?
You're asking me to reveal the secrets.
For the enterprise.
And I surely will. But there are opportunities for SMEs. But let's look at the relationship, our trade relationship with the rest of the world. What we'll see is, we see our trade relationship with Africa, we see a positive. Our trade relationship with America is a negative in the first 90 days of this year. So in other words, we are still importing more from the United States than we're exporting. Our trade relationship with Asia as well, negative. Our trade relationship with Europe in the first 90 days shows a positive. But here's what SMEs really need to focus on, and they need to write down the 5 secrets. And by the 5 secrets, I'll start with secret 1. How can you make money as an SME? The first secret is food. Why do I say food? More than half of what Nigerians spend locally is still on food. So more than half of the monies that go around that are spent in making several purchases in the country still goes on food. The second opportunity is for the big players, oil. Again, more than half of our revenue, money that comes in from trade, comes from oil, and that can perhaps be played by only those that have big purses. Now, the third opportunity, agriculture, Asia. Now, what it shows from the report is Asia is where most of our agricultural products go for. So rather than focus on getting a visa from the United States or United Kingdom, Millicent, if you're interested in making money as an SME, you want to be involved in the sort of relationships that are going on in Asia, because that is where our agricultural produce is going to. But again, the fourth secret is, what sort of agricultural produce as an SME should you consider? Sesame seed, cashew, and cocoa. And those are the products that we are selling the most when it comes to agriculture. And what is the fifth? The fifth is, do not forget the first 4 promises. Again, if you focus on food, there's a lot of money for the SMEs. If it's in agriculture, cashew, cocoa, and sesame. And if you have a bit of money to invest, there's still a lot of opportunities by offering services to the oil and gas sector.
So your forecast for the future of trade for SMEs in Nigeria?
My forecast is technology will still play a big role. But looking carefully at this perhaps should be what you should remember if you don't remember anything at all. And that is, little expenses can change your fortune a lot. Remember the words of Benjamin Franklin, a little hole in a ship can sink it. And so, little expenses can sink your purse. Do not take your eyes off those little expenses.
All right, and off the ball. Thank you for sharing those trade secrets for SMEs, Mr. Babajide Ogunsanwo, for coming on the program.